Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long goes 1975. A YouTuber is on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends used to bug him. Long goes 1975.
Hey YouTube, Long Boys Post 1975, and welcome to the weekly vlog. It's a tad late, even by my standards. I wasn't really going to make a vlog this week. And then it turned out technically I've made two, because this is the second time I'm recording this, because the first time I recorded it, there was a fuck off big fingerprint on the front of the camera, and when I went back to edit it, it looked like, wow, it looked like one of my original videos that was running in 280. So anyway, ignore that, let's get to the point. You've read the title, Microsoft's new console. Not next console, new console for this generation. What is the point? Who is it for? Who's going to buy it? I really struggle to get my head around why this machine is going to, exist in this generation. Now, I didn't know this was a thing. I don't know if I'm the only person who didn't know this, living under a rock as I quite, often do. Maybe you all knew about it. I didn't. Apparently it comes out in 2 months' time. Pre-orders starting next month. I don't know how much it's going to cost. Better be bloody cheap. That's my advice to Microsoft. Codename Maverick, because Microsoft like their code names, don't they? Basically, it's an Xbox One S, all digital. That's right, all digital in this generation. You know that thing that we're all fearful of, that thing that we don't want to happen? Apparently, it's going to start in this generation. Yeah, anyway, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's ignore that. There's just a couple of points I want to touch upon in this video that I've also made videos about prior to this. First one being next year. The new Microsoft consoles are coming out, and they've announced that there will be. And I made a video about this, and I said it was a good idea, but there are downsides to it, and they obviously play a big issue of why I think this is stupid now. There's going to be an all-digital version that's going to be cheaper and not have a drive, and there's going to be a traditional console. Now, I will be buying the traditional console. But I said in that video, and I stand by, and it's true, the internet speed, internet reliability, affordability is not uniform across this country. Hell, it's not uniform globally. Now, I understand that streaming services do exist, and obviously we got Netflix and Amazon Prime and stuff like that, but look at the size of a game. Game size, chunks of data to download are huge, and some of us could quite merrily, jump onto this console or digital console bandwagon and be fine, because we are fortunate enough or lucky enough to live in an area where we have brilliant internet. I don't. I mean, then you could argue that technically, aren't we really in the digital age anyway, for all digital age anyway, technically, because how many games do you own that you can't play unless you download a fuck off great patch, or in many cases, actually download, the game. Looking at you, EA, you thought no one noticed, we did. Yeah, so, I mean, you can argue that we are there, and you also argue that this generation of console, when it's gone, how many of these games are we going to be able to play once the servers are down? I know that's ages away, but the point being, how many of us are going to be, sat around with a bloody expensive, large paperweight? And that's even before this, brand new, well, it's not a streaming console, is it? But you know what I mean. Well, brand new, this generation, digital-only Xbox. Now, I like Microsoft, I do. I know I got a lot of flack for buying the Xbox, because people are like, why don't you get PlayStation? Why don't you get PlayStation? Do you know what? When people blindly, religiously support a manufacturer, fanboys in particular, do you think they give a shit about you? Do you think they actually give a fuck about your money? They want your money, but they don't owe you anything in return. That's why I don't swear allegiance to anything. Yeah, I wanted a Microsoft machine this generation because I like the way they do stuff online. I always have. But make no mistake about it, I never owned a PlayStation 3. I never owned a PlayStation 4. But if what they're doing or saying, or the route they're going about the PlayStation 5 being fully backward compatible to, day one of the PlayStation consoles, I'm all over that. I'm absolutely all over that. You know, thank you very much, Microsoft. It's been fun, but going in that direction, I owe no allegiance. But they've been pretty good, Microsoft, in turning around. Yeah, they got slaughtered by Sony. I know, they're absolutely slaughtered by Sony. But they managed to turn this generation around to some degree with a lot of, you know, clever thinking, you know, intelligence, basically. The backward compatibility, when Sony said no one's interested in that, well, people were. I know. I love it, and I know loads of people who love it, and that was a brilliant thing that Microsoft did. Blowing out the Kinect. I mean, the fact that you were 100 quid too expensive and you were going to be an all-in-one entertainment device and shit like that. Getting away from that, you know, I wouldn't say necessarily completely turned it around. You've saved face. So obviously your big thing now will be focusing on the next generation. You've got to get in there from the start and not repeat the mistakes of this generation. You want Xbox 360 7th generation goodness, where you slaughtered all opposition. So your big deal, and I'm sure they've got, you know, they're working on it and they've got all these plans in place, and they've probably got the finished consoles, obviously, and shit like that. But that's where, you know, you've got to get in there right away, Microsoft, and do it. You know, the Xbox One X, it's done all right, but I mean, all right, maybe because the PlayStation Pro came out, you had to release something, did you? For the, you know, I don't know. I would have just been happy with the Xbox One S. For, you know, for the 4K Blu-ray thing and shit like that. But did you? I don't know. To me, 4K gaming is not necessarily something that really needed to be in this generation. Maybe, you know, next generation, fine. But you know, that was a success. The Xbox One S was a success for what they are, and you've, you know, recouped and saved face with the Xbox One. But next generation is where it's at, and you've got to get in there and you've got to make sure you get it right. Well, for you, I don't care. Like I said, I'm teetering on the fence with which way to go at the start of any generation. Hell, the reason I was so late to this generation was I chose the Wii U of technically this generation, or not. Well, you know what I mean. Anyway, well, technically, my Nintendo have had two consoles in this generation, haven't they? The Wii U and the Switch, if you think about the time. Anyway, yeah. So this, you know, ignoring the fact that there isn't, as I touched upon, amazing bulletproof internet is standard everywhere, right? Ignore that, which is going to bite you in the ass for sales anyway, because, you know, immediately quite a large chunk of people aren't going to be able to buy this. Oh, and by the way, who remembers last year when Sony said that this all encompassing digital age of gaming only is not as close around the corner as you might think it is, or people are speculating it is, and they omitted because of this internet problem, reliable, affordable, uniform internet everywhere. They actually said that. So to do this, to release this in this generation, which you lost, Microsoft, yeah, with a digital only console, no drive, download only. Who is it aimed at? Is this, are you putting your foot in the pond or in the water to test it, to see what happens, to see if there is a market? Is this an exercise in execution or something like that? Because I cannot think for the life of me who this console is aimed at. Even with people who've got, you know, bulletproof, amazing internet. And let's say this console, I haven't even heard a price point, so this is hearsay, but let's say this console was 100 quid, right? Would you buy this for 100 quid, or would you just buy a regular old Xbox One, you know, VCR one, size one, which I actually like, it's mine. Buy that for £100, and then just buy all the fucking cheap games. Because what you're gonna do, Microsoft, you're gonna like match secondhand games in your pricing tier system for the stuff that people download, because why would I pay 20 quid for a game which you say is cheap when I could just go down and fucking Cash Converters or Pink Planet or something and grab it for a £5? Because it still blows my mind that a year after launch how cheap games are, and why do we even buy them at launch? And I'm as guilty as fuck on that. So who is this console for? It's 1 year before the new systems come out. So who in their right mind is going to buy this over them when they're out? And how long are you going to support this for? I mean, obviously, to some degree, you'll support it as long as you support the original Xbox One and Xbox One S. But why would I, as a consumer, when it's, you know, the new consoles are out, obviously, granted, like most cases, I'll wait a year or so for, you know, price reductions. But why am I going to buy this, a previous generation console that's digital only, won't let me buy cheap second-hand games, even if it's cheap, over the 9th generation. I cannot for the life of me think why you are releasing a console, a new console at the end of essentially a dying generation. That's strong descriptive term, you know what I mean. But there is, I mean, they've obviously done market research. Obviously there is a market for it out there, or they wouldn't be doing it, because even Microsoft can't be that stupid. But, or is it just to like refine the process, get some sort of, that's something I can think about it. Like I said, an exercise in execution. Get used to the all digital, you know, market console, you know, thingy ahead of your, you know, your one in the next generation, and obviously get your foot in the door for what will, and it pains me to say this, it really does, will be the future of gaming, which fucking sucks. But vote with your wallets, people. Vote with your wallets. I can honestly say I will not be buying a console past a generation that doesn't have a disc. Call me an archaic old fuck, but yeah, physical media, it's fantastic. So yeah, I mean, like I said, maybe I've missed this. I didn't even know this was a thing until I saw a video when I came home from work on Tuesday by RGT85, and he said new Xbox console, and I actually thought, are we talking about the new, like next gen, like Gen 9? Oh my god, when we get to generation 13, that'd be brilliant. Think about it. Gen 13, remember the comic book? But yeah, actually no it won't, because we won't have a drive. But yeah, I didn't know it until I watched that video, and then I was like, wait, this in this generation? You know, passing on the savings of having no drive, nah, I cannot see who it's for. And also, this just popped in there. I like having a drive for the simple fact that who else uses their console as their Blu-ray player? You know? I don't want to have a separate fucking Blu-ray player. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I don't have to worry about that for a bit, but obviously that will be, say, the generation after next. Yeah, do you know what? Clutter. It's bad enough that you need space for your gaming systems as it is, ignoring the fact those of us who are retro gamers and collect stuff, you know, and I like physical media, but physical media takes up a lot of bloody room. Don't make me have to own a separate fucking Blu-ray player. Seriously, that's shit. But yeah, so I honestly cannot think for the life of me. I mean, like I said, it better be bloody cheap, and then obviously, you know, you're limiting yourself to how successful it can be, because yeah, I know there's streaming and digital services out there already for like gaming and shit like that, but same thing applies to this that apply to them. There are people out there who simply cannot use them, regardless of how good they are or shiny and fantastic they are. They can't use them because there are people in this country who still have dial-up. I didn't think that was a thing anymore. It is. So ignoring that you've immediately hampered your sales for this system, ignoring the fact that the new consoles are just around the corner, ignoring the fact that this is at the end of this generation's life. You know, this tech is creaky now. This tech is very creaky. Hence the fact that you and Sony introduced these mid-generation, you know, updated systems. 2.5 of a generation. So yeah, it's everything about this to me, again, they've probably done research, but everything about this to me is like, it's stupid. I cannot for the life of me think why you were doing this, unless I said it's to prepare for the inevitability of all digital. But even then, you know, in this generation, no, who's going to buy it? Apart from the obvious people who've got fucking amazing internet, but who's going to buy it? Do you know what? By all means, people, maybe I've completely missed the point of this system, and it's staring me in the face. So by all means, correct me on that, but I mean, what do you think? Is this a bad idea? Is this a good idea? I mean, like I said, I argue that in the next generation, having two machines that are the same, bearing in mind, because it's the next generation, one is digital only, one has got a drive, that was a good idea because the option is still there. And what they're doing, they're preparing themselves. I mean, like I said, maybe that's it with this, but they're preparing themselves for the inevitability of the future, but still giving people the option to take a traditional console. But, I mean, to bring it into the end of this generation, to me, seems, I don't know, stupid. I could be wrong. It might fly off the shelves. It might be, you know, the gift horse we all fucking ignored. And so Microsoft are rubbing their hands with glee about it as they bring in the fucking banknotes. But, you know, because who can predict these things? But I think this is, I don't know, stupid. Or as in, I just don't know who it's for. I mean, are you going to buy one? Is anyone going to buy one? I'd love to know what you think. I'd love to know what you think about this whole, Project Maverick or, well, Xbox One S all digital. I'd love to know what you think. I'm scratching my head. Anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.